Hey everybody, Ben Nelson, the Everyday Real Estate Investor here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. Appreciate everybody that's out there listening and the opportunity to share from my experience and from the wins that I've had, and also for sure from the failures and the mistakes I've made and all of that, because I don't want you to make those same mistakes. So you might as well learn from someone else's mistakes. You might as well learn from mine, learn from others that are willing to share, because that's the shortcut to success. A lot of times is learning from somebody else and learning what not to do, or the right things to do, without having to go through those trial and errors on your own. So hopefully hopefully I'm helping you to do that on this podcast. Definitely listen to other ones, learn, gain knowledge, and glean from others, so that you're learning quickly and condensing those time frames and not just trying to do it all on your own. So again, appreciate that I'm one of the ones that you're listening to. Definitely there's lots of content out there that you could be spending your time absorbing. So thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk about what I call shiny object syndrome. So it's really easy in real estate to there are just so many ways that you can get involved. There are so many different um, strategies and different things that you can be doing. And then on top of it, like I just said, there's so much content out there. There's so many people pitching their ways that they're going about making money in this business. There's lots and lots of gurus out there pitching their programs, lots of things that can distract you. So um, we're going to talk about being focused and about how to do that, and about some things to be aware of as you're in this real estate investing game. And especially if you're starting out, yeah, and even if you're not, I mean, it's really easy to get unfocused and just get distracted. And your results are going to suffer. You're not going to be as effective as you can be if you are chasing the next best thing, quote unquote, right? And just constantly being pulled away by new ideas and new thoughts. Now, as an entrepreneur, we think that way. We have ideas all the time, and we have just all these different things that we want to pursue, and different ideas and different thoughts. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Ideas are great. That's how new companies are born. That's how new technologies happen. That's how new strategies come about. All those things, but you have to rein those in, and you have to be able to be focused also to be effective. And great entrepreneurs are able to take all those ideas and boil them down and really get focused on the one thing that they really want to pursue. Or if they're pursuing multiple things, what's the one or two things that they need to do, and then putting their team in place to do everything else. So okay, so shiny object syndrome. What do I mean by that? I mean, you're out there, you're trying to do your real estate investing, and somebody comes along and pitches you a new idea that is completely separate from what you're doing right now. And because that's going to happen, right? If you're in this space, you're going to have people pitching you deals, people pitching you ideas, other real estate gurus out there telling you this is the latest and greatest, and here's how you do this. And it's really easy to get pulled away and follow that quote unquote shiny object, right? So the newest thing, this thing that's gonna, make things easier or quicker or more effective or whatever. And there are things like that. And it's great, but you also have to be careful. And this is not at all where I was going to go with this, but I think so. AI is a big thing right now, and I feel like it's one of those things that there are applications for it, and there are things that it can really be effective at, but it also can be this rabbit trail, this shiny object of chasing and spending all this time on something that's this new technology that may or may not actually help your business. So um, go things like AI like that, go after with a purpose. Like, what is, if you're going to look at all these different tools, how is it going to help your business? Is there a purpose? Is there a reason behind it, other than just this is on trend, so I'm going to go after it? So that I guess that's my point with it, is if you're just going after it because it's on trend, and you actually don't see how it can actually help your business, then you're just wasting your time. So don't do that. Within real estate, again, there are so many different avenues that we can be going. There are so many different strategies. It's really easy kind of to do that same thing. Oh, I'm going to flip properties. I'm going to wholesale. I'm going to do, I'm going to do the BRRRR strategy. I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy notes and do that. I'm going to, be a lender. I'm going to invest passively. I'm going to invest in a syndication. I'm going to do apartments, or I'm going to do mobile home parks, or I'm going to do office, or I'm going to do single family home, right? You get the point. There's between the strategy and the type and just the different nuances. I mean, even, notes, being on the debt side versus being on the actual real asset side, uh, all these different nuances, different variations that are all valid and all things that you can make money in, but you can't possibly do them all at once. You can't possibly be an expert in all of them at once. There's not enough time in the day to build all those different avenues. So here's what I'll say though. When you're starting out, it's okay to be a little bit spread out at first, because you're learning and you're trying to figure out this real estate thing, right? So dabbling a little bit, kind of feeling out some different aspects of real estate, doing a little bit of wholesaling, maybe doing a little bit of flip one, maybe buy a note, maybe be a lender. It's okay to do that. Because that way you can figure out what you enjoy. You figure out a little bit, you learn a lot, right? You learn the different aspects of the business, which that's a good thing to do. And you kind of figure out where you want to land and what strategy by having that hands-on experience. So I think that can be good to dabble a little bit as you're figuring it out. But the biggest mistake that I think a lot of people make is that they stay in that place and they don't have a direction, and they're just really doing whatever comes along. And it's really hard to be effective. And how do you market for something if you're doing everything? You can't have an effective marketing strategy, an effective marketing model. You can't even really effectively underwrite a deal or know if you don't really even know what you're looking for. Like, I'll do anything. And I hear that a lot, right? What are you looking for? Hey, you're an investor. What kind of project, what kind of investment are you looking for? I'll do anything that makes money. Just bring me a deal. Okay. You don't know what you're looking for. You should be able to at least get me in the ballpark, like, how much do you want to make on your return? What kind of strategies are you into? Do you want to buy something that you can flip? Are you going to hold it? I mean, give me something to work off of, right? Because if you can't, then I'm pretty sure that you don't know what you're looking for either. And so that's a big part of it, right? So again, it's okay to be excited about different strategies. It's okay to be checking all these different avenues out, learning and all that, but don't stay there. Figure out a road that you want to go on, and then get really honed in and focus on a strategy, focus on a system to be able to be effective in that area. The newest strategy, the next big thing, all that stuff, the newest market, the up and comings, right? All that. And I'm not saying don't be strategic. I'm not saying don't adapt. But if you do make a change, make sure it's strategic and you're not just grabbing onto something that's a distraction. You're not making an emotional decision to go after this new big thing, this newest idea. And actually, I will say that a lot of newer investors, especially that haven't really seen success yet, this is a really big trap, because you have to give yourself some time to be able to get traction, to be able to get some deals under your belt, be able to see things this takes time. This is not a get rich quick game. Finding a good deal, all that. I mean, you may get lucky and get something right away, but you may have to hunt for 3 or 4 months to find the right deal. If you're constantly jumping around on, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you don't even give yourself enough time to get your feet on the ground and get going in the right direction and get some momentum. And that's where you see this perpetual cycle of just starting over and starting over and starting over because you never committed to something in the first place. And so, especially again, newer investors, if you're trying to get that first success, right? Don't keep jumping around. I'm going to do wholesaling. I'm going to do flipping. I'm going to do that. That's how you shoot yourself in the foot, because you're not allowing yourself to get that success and build on that success. You're just constantly jumping around, and you're not able to learn the things you need to learn, take the steps you need to take, and move in the right direction. Again, try different avenues, but don't try to be all things. You're not going to be able to do it. You have to find a niche that works for you, a strategy, a property type, a market, and then figure out a system and a formula. If you're trying to do 18 different things, you're just not going to do any of them well, and you're not going to be able to be effective. Now, I will say that it is okay to have a somewhat of a wide stance and to have multiple different things that you're doing. My biggest thing is, don't try to do them all at once, right? Try to learn one. Depending on what you're doing, you might be able to do a couple just because they might, kind of dovetail into each other a little bit. And it's okay to add things on, but make sure those first things are on solid ground first before you start doing that, because you have to be able to have those systems and that formula in place first. Okay, I've got deal flow coming in. I know what I'm looking for. I've got my financing in place. I've got all of these pieces put together, so I know I can keep this going. Now I'm going to add this other piece in, and there you go. Now you can build this other piece to your business, and that's totally fine. The other thing that I'll say is that you don't want to get so stuck in a niche that you can't pivot. So markets change, things happen, and you have to be able to adapt. So adapting is fine. That's different. Again, that's strategic. So you don't want to be so stuck in something that you can't make a pivot, but you want to make sure that it's a deliberate choice, and they're making that strategically when the market or certain conditions call for it. And you're not just doing it willy-nilly just because you feel like some other opportunity came up, or you're just doing it emotionally or whatever, right? You're not thinking about the decision, you're just doing it. And this pivoting happens all the time, right? Even if you're a flipper, if the market shifts, I can't maybe sell some inventory. Maybe I'm going to hold on to it. Vice versa. You might be a hold guy, and I love holding property. I would rather hold than a sell. But certain properties it's harder to do right now with interest rates the way that they are, and cash flow is a lot tougher to come by with higher interest rates. And so I'm looking at a couple projects right now where I would love to hold them, but I probably am going to have to sell them because the numbers just work better as a short-term turn than they do long-term. And that's just there's a few other factors than just that, because I understand, obviously, I expect interest rates are going to come down and I could refinance and all that stuff. So I'm not thinking that short-term. I do understand that, and I'm factoring that in. But again, I'm a hold guy. I would love to hold, but sometimes selling makes sense, and sometimes it makes sense because you're going to reposition for something else, right? So again, that's a market pivot, right? If this was last year, 100% this will be a hold, but interest rates and a few other things, it changes things. So don't be so stuck in your strategy and all that to not be able to pivot when it's necessary. Okay, so how do you get focused? How do you stop yourself? How do you keep yourself from having this shiny object syndrome? How do you keep yourself from getting pulled away to all of these things that are dangling in front of you on social media, and the guru's talking to you, and you should do this, you should do that? Because again, all of them, not all of them, but a lot of them have merit and are good strategies, and you can make money in them. So it's not that I'm trying to keep you from chasing something that's bad necessarily. It's just, again, to be focused and be more effective. So first things first, get clear on what you want real estate to do for you. We talk about this a lot. If you don't know what you want real estate to do for you, you're going to have a really hard time figuring out what strategy makes sense and where you're going to put your time and effort. What is the goal that you have with investing? If you are just trying to replace your income, maybe you're okay with creating a new job for yourself, right? That's flipping, that's wholesaling, that's not really investing. You're finding something that you can buy at a discount and sell it to somebody else, or add some value to and turn around and sell it and make some money. That's great. That's a job, right? If you don't go out and find more inventory and make and do that effort and put that sweat equity into it, you're not going to make money, right? So you're still trading time for dollars. Do you have the ability to, number one, or is your goal passive income? Do you want your money working for you? That's a different goal than creating a job for yourself. Um, what do you want to be doing? How do you want to be interacting with people? What do you want your day to look like? Do you want to be managing subcontractors, or do you want to be behind the scenes? Those are very different things, right? So um, you know if I don't want to talk to people, I probably don't want to flip properties, because you gotta actively manage that stuff, right? But I could buy notes. I could do that. Not that you don't talk to anybody, but there's a lot less you can do. You can do a lot of research and stuff behind the scenes. Um, Consider your current reality. Where are you at now? Because now you may have to do a certain strategy now to take the step to the next one, right? Well, I really want to syndicate apartment deals. I really want to do that. I want to raise capital. I want to bring a lot of investors together, and I want to buy big apartment buildings. But you've never bought a property in your life. You have no idea how to underwrite a property. Well, probably not where you're going to start, unless you bring on some really amazing partners and you're just good at a certain aspect of that. Certainly you can do that. I'm a believer in that. If you can make it happen, if you can make it happen if you believe you can make it happen, but there's some realities there that you got to deal with, right? So I have no experience. I have no, knowledge of how to do this. Well, how are you going to jump straight to doing apartment deals? You got to have a really good plan in place to be able to pull that one off. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but you got to figure out how to make that happen. More likely, you're going to start with something smaller, right? You're going to start with flipping a property or doing some wholesaling or something like that, so you can learn the market, learn how the strategies work, learn how to underwrite deals, all of that stuff. So consider your current reality. Consider your resources, right? Your time resources, your financial resources. How much money do you have to work with? Your connections, your relationships, your knowledge, right? All of those come into play. Like I just talked about with, I want to syndicate apartment buildings. Well, if you don't have the expertise, it's going to be pretty hard to jump to that, right? Um, and if same at the same token, if you don't have a lot of money to invest, it's going to be harder to do certain strategies, right? But you can wholesale. You can lock something up at a good price, and you can find a buyer, and you can make a fee for that, or you can joint venture with them and stay in the deal, and you guys split it. Hey, I found it, you fund it, right? So that's going to dictate a little bit of where you're starting and how you get and what you're going to be focused on. Consider your skill set, and also consider your desired skill set. Maybe you're not great at sales or talking to people right now, but you want to be, right? So how is that going to factor in? Consider your personality. That's one, again, that's kind of like, what do you want to be doing? Like we talked about earlier. If you're an introvert and you really don't want to be talking to people all day long, that's going to affect probably how you want to go about this business. And then the final thing is, create an actual plan to get results. You figured out what you want to do. Okay, I want to flip properties, and this is my strategy for the next 4 years. And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to put that into hold properties, whatever that strategy is, right? This is the neighborhood I'm going to do it in. These are the type of people I'm going to focus on. This is the type of seller that I'm going to go after because of these factors, and create an actual plan to go out there and get results. A marketing plan, get targeted on your marketing, build those connections that you need. Because every strategy has different connections that you need, right? If you're a wholesaler, you need a buyer list. If you're flipping, you need contractors and you need deal flow, and you need, so your connection is the wholesaler maybe. So you need them if you're going to, be picking up inventory. So, putting those connections together, assembling the resources. You are raising capital. Okay, well, you got to get some investors, and you have to start assembling those resources to get them ready to deploy when you find the right deal. So, a plan is key. If you're going to go about this and treat it like a business, like you should, then because you're going to get a lot better results if you treat it like a business, and a true business. You're tracking things, you're watching your expenses, you're um, doing it on a daily basis. Even if you're doing it part-time, you can still treat it like a business. And there's a difference. And I know this because I've done it before, where I thought I was treating it like a business, but I was really just, I wasn't. I was treating it like a hobby. And you go about things differently if you don't treat it like a business. So treat it like a business, have a plan, get it structured, get it written out. This is what I'm going to do. Here's my goals. Here's how I'm going to do that. I have to talk to this many people. I need to send out this many mailings. Here's my target market. All of those things, and get really focused on what it is you're going to be doing. And then don't let those shiny objects come in and distract you, because they will try to come in and distract you. And you're going to be tempted to say, well, looks like an easier route. This looks like it might be quicker for me. I'm telling you, if you jump around like that, none of them are going to be quicker for you. It's going to take you much longer because you're constantly going to be jumping around. Like I said, you have to get that momentum going, and you can't do that if you're constantly jumping around. So don't allow the shiny object of a new strategy or a new nuance, or just kind of jumping around between assets or strategies or whatever, pull you away. Don't let it waste your time and keep you from success. Be open to ideas, but be careful with letting them drive you to something that you're not meaning it to, right? You make sure you're steering the ship, and that you're not letting all of these things come in from around you, that those things are steering you. You have to be really careful what you lend your ear to, and really careful and strategic about what you implement in your business, so you're not just constantly doing that jumping around. So thanks for listening. I hope that's helpful to you. We really need to there's so many distractions today. Just within real estate, like we talked about, all the different strategies, all the different voices coming at you. This is how you should do the business. And then on top of that, all the other things that are out there always shouting at us for our attention. Make sure that you are disciplining yourself to be focused, that you know what you're after, that you're clear on your goals and your strategy, so that way, when those distractions come along, you can say, nope, thank you, but that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing right now. Maybe I'll consider that later. I'm going to set that aside. But right now, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to be focused, and I'm going to drive results. And then I can maybe add something in. So again, hopefully that's helpful to you. Avoid that shiny object syndrome. Do not let it plague your business or your life. Go out there and get focused and clear on what it is that you want real estate investing to do for you. Thanks again for listening.